trying to fight the best competition out there. That's the whole reason why I'm trying to fight, Crawford. I'm a man on my word, and like I said, after I get this third belt, I'm coming to him. Get God belts on my side, then I'm coming to him. Yeah. I'm not trying to fight anybody else but him. So, that's part of the reason why, I'm sitting out this long too, because, there's just one person I'm trying to fight. I'm trying to fight the best competition out.
What's going on, people? It's your man, the YB, back once again. So, we just heard there from Errol Spence, and this is good news. I mean, Espinosa, he stayed just talking too much. He'd be doing way too much. Last year, although I guess they did half deliver the Garcia versus Tank fight, but either way, last year, Espinosa was doing too much for about 6 months. Yeah, it's coming. It didn't come. Espinosa been saying, yeah, we're nearly done. We can't announce at the Garcia versus Tank fight, so I ain't trying to hear no more from Espinosa, but it's good and hopeful that Spence is talking this way. Before, it was kind of like, 154. And I think, in a way, it's good that Jamel is at 154, because there's nowhere really for Spence to go. Jamel's got all the belts. He don't want to fight Jamel. I think Jamel even said it. He ain't. I think Jamel, in a recent interview, said that he'd rather fight Jamal, his actual twin, than fight Spence, because they're obviously in different gyms. But anyway, Spence don't have nowhere to go. The Crawford fight is there. This for me is a fight of the century as well. I've got to be honest with you. I mean, the pay-per-view numbers might not be fight of the century, but this is the one. This is the proper one. I actually think, historically speaking, I'm talking about Hearns and Sugar Ray. I think these two, this is like, yeah, I think it's potentially unparalleled. It's, in a way, it's a bit like James Toney and Roy Jones. It's that kind of proper. We're probably not going to see this. Well, at 135, I think Devin Haney and Shakur is another one of them ones. Or if Tank grows some balls, Tank and Shakur, or Tank and Devin Haney, the generational, centennial fights. It's got to happen. I need this one. I need this in June. I need this year. I ain't going to be picky, but obviously, quicker the better, but we need this one that bad. And it's good that, I say good, in all fairness, Spence was saying for the last, not frequently, but 6 months ago, or 9 months ago, he was saying, yeah, Crawford, we want to kind of get it done. I remember at the time, there was a whole back and forth that went on. Crawford was saying, Al don't want to do this, Al don't want to do that. It was he said, she said. The good news is, they're talking now. Directly. Spence is talking directly with Crawford. So if it's ever going to happen, I'm going to call it now. It happens this year, or it ain't happening at all. I mean, there was people saying that last year as well, but they're talking now. No more Al in the video. Al, not sometimes, a lot of the time, Al be doing too much. Al be doing way too much. I remember when Adrian Broner was offered 50 million from Jay-Z. And no doubt Al was doing too much then as well. You don't understand? Them ones there. Doing way too much. Al should have told Adrian, man, listen, quiet down. Bite this guy's hand off. But he too busy talking about, Al no doubt was telling Adrian Broner, yeah, you're going to be big bro. Yeah, look at big bro. We can be, yeah, he ain't big bro. Oops. So my point is, a lot of these managers have, Terence Crawford isn't a huge fighter. Yeah, if Terence Crawford was Canelo, you best believe Al, this fight would have been done. Al doesn't want his Texas cash cow losing to Crawford or to anyone, but I think Spence versus Canelo would be easier to make from Spence's side. Crawford don't have a boss. Well, they say that, but you know what I mean? He don't. Crawford don't have to ask Daddy for anything. And I'm glad to finally see that Spence has potentially come round to that idea. You know, yeah, Al's your advisor, but come on, man, you're a grown man. Do you want this fade or not? That's what it should come down to. In terms of the splits, I mean, most things come down to money. In terms of the splits, I think 60-40 is well within fair. And from what I understand last time, Crawford agreed to that. So I don't want to hear about no 65-35. That's corny to me. Super corny. If I start hearing that again, Spence don't want to fight. That's what I'm going to call. Because it's easier to sit on a video and say, yeah, I'm on Crawford's neck. He the only man for me. It's a different thing to actually implement that. Yeah, if Crawford's the only man you want, 60-40, that's all day. You're both champions. Yes, Spence has more belts. But Spence is the 147 incumbent. He's the one who's been there his whole career. For all due respect, Crawford was undisputed at 140. And then he's going for undisputed at 147. So it's natural for Spence to have more belts. He hasn't necessarily done more in the sport. I think in terms of resume, I mean, we'll look at Crawford stopped Porter. Albeit Porter was a bit corny, but still. Crawford be stopping people. Smoking them as well. Spence be stopping people too, but he didn't smoke Porter. That's the one that comes to mind where they've got opponents in common. So, based on resume, this fight, you can't justify Spence demanding more than 60%. I don't care what no one says. I just don't see it. Okay, he does bigger numbers in Texas. That's what your 60%'s for. 60%, people don't realise. 60-40 doesn't sound like a big difference. But 60-40 is a 50% increase. If you go any lower, if you go down to 35%, that means 2-1. That means you're saying Errol Spence is worth twice as much as Crawford. I can't justify that myself. I think 60-40 puts a 50% premium. You're basically saying Errol Spence is worth half more than Terence Crawford. I think that's justifiable. To say Errol Spence is double the man that Crawford is ridiculous. On resume, and even financially speaking. I mean, in all fairness, I think Spence hasn't done massive numbers himself. I'm trying to think. I think Spence does like 250 or something like that. This fight together, I can see it doing 800, 700. If Tank Garcia did a milli plus. But then again, Tank Garcia had the whole Mexican thing behind it as well. The Mexicans, they don't mess about, they put their coins up. So, I don't know. But for sure, it's going to sell out 80,000 in Texas. And regardless of the TikTok hype. Because, all due respect, yeah, Ryan and Tank did big numbers, but it's not a real fight. It's not a Spence and Crawford. It's not a Haney and Shakur. Yeah, these fights aren't blockbusters. Or they're not going to do pay-per-view records, but still, it's the real thing. I wouldn't mind hearing from Crawford now as well. Spence has talked in the last week. I wouldn't mind hearing from Crawford. And I've been saying for the longest time, these guys should be negotiating in the public. The best time for this fight, yeah, was last year when it was all out there. Because there's nowhere to hide. The problem is when you've got different interests and everyone's all quiet. No one knows. And it's easy to hide, potentially. I don't know exactly what's going on yet, but if Errol Spence is saying, I'm only paying you 30%, Crawford need to be out here saying that now. And that's what went wrong last time. Last time, Spence and Crawford both said, I'm not talking about it. And it didn't happen. Then they started talking about it. By then it was too late, but still. Then they started talking about it. And when things are out there, people act differently. People act differently when the public knows what's going on. Because you know you're going to get pressed. You know it looks bad. And therefore you act differently. Don't give these... And I'm not sure how... Maybe, yeah, magically, negotiations are going great. If so, carry on. But again, it's been a month since the Garcia fight. And Espinosa said it was close. It's kind of like, wait a minute. I mean, some people were rumouring it to be in June. So I'm thinking... You've had about over 18 months to do this now. And it's been another month. It's been another month since Espinosa said it's close. That's a bit worrying. What's taking... There's only a finite amount of things to put in a contract. When Pacquiao and Mayweather were ready to fight, I think it got done in a few weeks. These things aren't... We're not talking... And to be honest, any type of contract, whatever contract you're doing, don't take 18 months. In fact, at this level, people are working on this all day. How can it take more than 4 weeks for two fighters who want to fight unless there's still structural stumbling blocks? I don't know. But the absence of an update is worrying, truth be known. Yeah, it's positive that he's somewhat talking about it, but at what point is it done? What are they still talking about that they couldn't talk about 6 months ago or for the last 8 weeks? I don't know. Anyway, my fingers are crossed. It will be if this fight don't happen, I almost feel done with boxing, because if we can't get this one done, we know we're not going to get Tank versus Devin Haney. We know that. You can forget about that. And again, unfortunately, it's always these guys involved. It's the same people. Floyd Mayweather involved. Al Heyman involved. Yeah? Tank's one of the most scariest champions in the history of the game. Only want to fight bums. And pretty boys. So we know that fight ain't going to happen. That should be on now. Shakur and Devin Haney. That might actually happen, to be fair. But that's because Al Heyman, I hate to say it, but that's the way it's looking now. It's looking like Al Heyman can't make big fights. Because all due respect to Bob Arum, yeah? Bob Arum put on Teofimo versus Loma. Now, that's not as big as Devin Haney and Tank, but still, he put on the big dog who was Loma at the time, and Teofimo, the young up-and-coming one. That was on. That got made. Al Heyman seems to be the one gatekeeping right now. I hate to say it, but it's the truth. He gatekeeping. But anyway, I hope I'm wrong. Let me know your thoughts. Smash the like button, subscribe, and lick off the bell.